Welcome to Flashpoint. I'm Gene Bayless, where the facts matter, and so does the truth. All right, so a lot has been going on. We've kind of changed what we were going to do tonight because of what's happening in our world. As you are aware, stuff is going on in Israel. And so as rockets fired from Gaza filled Israel's skies the other night, Jews and Arabs shed each other's blood in the streets below. The two groups that were involved unleashed their wrath on each other Wednesday night amid a wave of the worst ethnic, nationalist, and religious violence Israel has seen in years. Hamas, the Palestinian wing of the Muslim Brotherhood, has orchestrated Palestinian political violence for the past few weeks as part of its annual propaganda and terrorist offensive against Israel during Ramadan, the Islamic holy month. Hamas and its political rival, the Palestinian Authority, competed to promote violent clashes with Israeli police at Muslim holy sites in Jerusalem. Then Hamas, in effect, hijacked the protest and launched more than 1,500 rockets at Israel from Gaza, instigating its fourth war with Israel since 2008. Now, several events led up to the violence, and I want to take them one by one so you really understand what really happened the last few days. Political tension surged ahead of Israel's annual Jerusalem Day celebration, commemorating the capture of East Jerusalem in the 1967 Arab-Israeli War. Second, a long-simmering private real estate dispute. Now, this is really the crux of it. There was a long-simmering private real estate dispute between two families in the Jerusalem neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah involving 4 Palestinian families living on Israeli-owned land, which was due to be resolved by an Israeli court. That dispute, in a neighborhood that Palestinians hope to claim as a part of the Palestinian state, was exaggerated to apocalyptic dimensions by the Palestinian militants, eager to ignite Palestinian riots against Israel. All right, so you with me so far? All right. Then Hamas seized the opportunity to exploit the crisis by posing as a guardian of Palestinian civil and religious rights, despite the fact that it systematically represses Palestinian human rights in Gaza. Don't pay any attention to that. Hamas issued an ultimatum threatening to attack if Israel did not withdraw its police by Monday evening. When Israel ignored the blackmail attempt, Hamas unleashed a rocket barrage at Jerusalem and southern Israel. Since Monday, more than 1,300 rockets have detonated inside Israel, killing 7 Israelis. Another 200 rockets fell short, landing inside Gaza, causing some of their own deaths. Many of the most dangerous rockets deployed by Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, another Islamic terrorist organization, are provided by Iran, which shares their goal of destroying Israel. Are you getting the theme yet? The lethal threat posed by the rockets has been mitigated by Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system, which reportedly is about 90% effective in intercepting incoming warheads. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered a military response after the rocket attacks, noting this: "We did not want to escalate, but those who chose to escalate will be hit forcefully." The Israeli Air Force retaliated by launching strikes at rocket launching sites, arms storage depots, and terrorist leadership targets in Gaza, and claimed to have killed 6 senior Hamas leaders. Hamas provoked 3 previous wars with Israel in 2008, 2012, and 2014. Unlike Israel, which seeks to minimize Palestinian civilian casualties in conflicts, Hamas terrorists hide among the Palestinian civilians to launch rockets intended to kill Israeli civilians, a double war crime. Although Hamas has lost on the battlefield every time it believes it has scored an ideological victory by resisting Israel, despite the hardships that its scorched earth strategy imposes on the Palestinians, who are among the biggest victims of the Hamas terrorist strategy itself. So the question remains, so who wins in all of this? Iran and Palestinian extremists are the only winners in the current crisis, which distracts global attention from Iran's ongoing threats and the plight of Palestinians held hostage and repressed by Hamas in Gaza. The Biden administration has sought to restore aid and rebuild ties to the Palestinian Authority while distancing itself from Israel's Netanyahu government. This has emboldened the Palestinian militants who hope to further isolate Israel. Are you with me so far? Here's where we're at. Washington must rethink this approach. We need to take a tougher stand against Palestinian terrorism and Hamas, which seeks to block any peace effort by transforming the Israeli-Palestinian conflict into a religious struggle in which compromise is tantamount to blasphemy. The violent confrontations have spread like wildfire across Israel, with chaos unfolding in cities like Akko, Jerusalem, Haifa, Bet Yam, Tiberias, and others. While Biden and Harris have opened up to our southern borders to any and all who desire to come across. But they too have realized that pesky Trump wall idea was a good one. So work has already resumed at the border in the residential areas that are in danger of flooding. And now Biden has said publicly Israel has a right to defend itself. Unfortunately, the mainstream media has embraced the Hamas storyline. Imagine if this was your nation. Imagine if this was your town. What would you do if this was your city or your town? Folks, we all know, if you're a Christian conservative, you know the importance of Israel already. Unfortunately, our government officials don't necessarily understand that right now.